Very good evening. You're watching the India Development Debate. I'm Tamanna Inamdar, and today is a day of hectic political back and forth. The process of government formation in the state of Maharashtra has turned into a political thriller full of twists and turns with no clarity yet on who will be the next chief minister of the state. In the last 48 hours, the BJP has said it can't form a government. The Shiv Sena says it will, with the NCP and Congress's help. Both these parties have so far kept their cards close to their chest with no clear decision yet. Meanwhile, the governor of the state, BS Koshyari, had refused to give Shiv Sena the extension of time they wanted to prove their majority. He has now called upon the NCP to take a shot at forming the government. So what happens next? Truly, it could be anyone's guess. But what are the factors that will determine that outcome? To speak on this, I'm joined today by Alok Prasanna Kumar, Senior Resident Fellow at the Vidhi Center for Legal Policy, CL Manoj, Senior Editor at the Economic Times, Yashwant Deshmukh, Founder Editor at Sea Voter International, Rohit Chandavarkar, Editor at the Sakar Times, and Hitesh Jain, spokesperson of the BJP. Welcome to all of you, and thank you for speaking with us today. Alok Prasanna, I just want to understand from you the legal perspective. Let's begin with that. The order that the governor is following and where it stands within the constitution.
Yeah. So this is something that our constitution doesn't exactly say what is the order. And to be fair, there is no one fixed situation.
Yeah.
Because if you recall, last year we had a similar discussion in the context of Karnataka. Who should the governor call first? In that situation, he could have called either the BJP or the Congress and JDS, and he wouldn't be wrong in doing either way. So again, there is no fixed order, because at some level the constitution realizes the permutations or combinations are infinite. There's no way to prescribe what is the absolute right thing to do in every situation. So I think they've left this to the discretion of the governor. As it stands, the governor has gone on the basis of the number of MLAs in each party. So far, the BJP has not been able to, the Shiv Sena has not been able to. He's called, as I understand it, he's called the NCP as the largest party in the single largest pre-poll coalition. So again, fair enough. This is not something that he's following a defined rule book. He is making a judgment call. Whatever that judgment call, at the end of the day, it has to be proved on the floor of the House. So if tomorrow, for some reason, the NCP manages to submit enough letters of support and the governor says, go ahead, I'll swear in whoever you want as CM, they will still have to prove. He can ask them to prove their majority on the floor of the House. Usually, I think the standard deadline is about 24 to 48 hours. And if they fail to do so, he may send a report to the president to say, it's not possible to form a government. The state should be put under governor's rule.
Okay, now what about the time? I'm coming back to you, Alok Prasanna, because these are the key questions. What about the time limit? The Shiv Sena is saying we got just 24 hours. The NCP is saying 24 hours was not enough. They asked for an extension which the governor did not permit. But they have not refuted their claim to form government either. What does that practically mean?
Exactly. So to be fair, now last time, and I recall, I think I was on your show or on somebody else's show where I sort of mentioned that when the governor of Karnataka gave 2 weeks to BS Yediyurappa to prove his majority, he was clearly acting unconstitutionally. He was clearly giving Yediyurappa the opportunity to horse trade, to try and cause defections among MLAs and so on. And well, what is sauce for the goose is sauce for the gander. So the Shiv Sena can't really complain that they've just been given 24 hours, because let's be fair here. We're not talking about a situation where instantly two parties can come together and agree on a common minimum program and go ahead with it. Nothing prevents them from doing so, but I think it's fair on the part of the governor to say, I want to avoid horse trading. I want to reduce the opportunity for unprincipled behavior. And I don't think you're close enough. Say, I would have understood if the Shiv Sena was, say, 125 and they just need the support of maybe 20 MLAs, then maybe they might have been justified in asking for another 24 hours. But it doesn't make any sense, because unless, you're talking about two very antagonistic parties. And here again, the governor's judgment call, we may disagree with it, but I don't think it's fundamentally wrong. I don't think it's fundamentally illegal or immoral or unconstitutional in any way.
Right.
I think it's fair enough to say you guys had so much time. It's not as if the Shiv Sena had managed to cobble up majority from the day on which the election results were declared. It's not obvious that there was a whole other party waiting for the Shiv Sena to join them and say, let's go ahead and form the government. So I think the governor said, if you have a majority, you're most welcome to prove. If you have some sort of evidence that others are willing to support you, please go ahead and show it. But it can't be that you keep demanding an extension after an extension, saying, no, we'll get somebody else, we'll get somebody else. It just leaves open the possibility for horse trading. And I think it's a fair call. Again, let's be clear, it doesn't shut the door on the Shiv Sena. After President's rule, at any point of time, if the Shiv Sena submits letters of support from the NCP and the Congress, it is open. It is for the governor to say that, okay, there's a possibility of the government being formed, and therefore direct that they prove a majority on the floor of the House. So again, it's not as if the door has been shut on them either. So it is just for the moment, the governor perhaps does not want to give the Shiv Sena an advantage in any sort of horse trading. So maybe he has a fair point in saying, okay, I'll go to the third next party, which is, or rather, I will go to the single largest pre-poll alliance still in play, which is the NCP and the Congress. And therefore, why don't you guys try and prove majority? I'm not sure. I mean, I haven't been following this in the last few minutes, but I'm not sure if a deadline has been prescribed for them. But if he's invited them to form government, I think it's entirely fair that he gives them about 24 to 48 hours to do so.
Yeah, I mean, if he's given the Shiv Sena 24 hours, one can assume as of now that the NCP will also get the same 24 hours. And it's the same set of players. Yashwant Deshmukh, there's nothing really to ask except your comment on what is going on. It's just startling, to say the least. Because every half an hour the permutation and combination changes. I don't know what's going to be the situation by the time you end your sentence.
Well, Tamanna, in the Hindi heartland and particularly in the east, which we call as Purab, there is a Hindi proverb that goes, "Chaube ji gaye the chabbe banne aur dube ban ke laute." I mean, which is like, I mean, I don't know. I feel like the mandate has been betrayed, Tamanna, to start with. You went, you asked for a mandate against Congress and Shiv Sena, and it's a betrayal of the mandate to go with what you asked the people to vote for. And when I say this with full responsibility, and I have written it about at that point of time as well. I also felt that mandate was betrayed when the government was formed, alternative government was formed in Bihar as well. I also felt that mandate was betrayed in Goa as well. But having said that, look at the things that real politics has to offer. I believe and genuinely believe that Congress had this golden opportunity right now in terms of real politics to come up one man up on the BJP and particularly Modi-Shah duo. Their politics has been always on the winning side for the last 5 years, and this was a time where they could have said after Karnataka. People say that Karnataka experiment failed. It's okay, it doesn't matter, it failed, but at the end of the day, they formed the government, they showed the thing that, okay, we want to make a government, we want to be in power. But right now, by doing the doorknobs, I mean, it's been 17 days, God's sake. If they were so clear they did not wish to be a part of this entire thing, they could have told Shiv Sena right in the start, thank you very much, we are not going to support you.
Yashwant,
but if you really wanted this experiment to happen,
why are you assuming it's clear? The Congress has not said anything either way.
No, they should have given the letter of support today. When the deadline was ending today, they should have clearly given the letter of support. You see, tomorrow also, even if the governor has invited NCP, it's not that governor is going to say, bring up your guy, I'm going to swear, get him sworn in as the chief minister. The governor is going to ask even the NCP for the letter of support. Now, the interesting angle is, what if NCP says to Shiv Sena, you see, I gave you letter of support, it's now your time to give us a letter of support. What is Shiv Sena going to do? So, I mean, in all fair game, can Shiv Sena say, we are not going to give you a letter of support regardless of what you did for us? So what I am simply trying to say is that governor is going by the conventional way, very easy cheesy going that okay, we ask the largest party, the second largest, the third largest, and they will probably even invite Congress. He will also say that okay, Congress, you should also have a go if you wish to. But when any party goes to the governor and says that yes, I want to I want to form a government, that party is going to be asked to give in writing a letter of support from the actual numbers before going on the floor. And that is not going to happen. Then governor is simply going to ask for a president's rule.
Are we heading towards a president's rule? Why did the Congress not give its letter of support if it wants to go in that direction? CL Manoj, your take?
Well, if you go by what the BJP and Shiva Sena did during the last 3 days, it was at Raj Bhavan they said whether they are interested in forming the government or not in a press conference or outside Raj Bhavan. The BJP went and said that they are declining the invitation, which may be because they are their way of expressing their inability to stake claim. And Shiva Sena today evening was called and they staked claim. Now, as an extension of this government formation exploration, now the NCP has been given. I was told that they have been also given another 24 hours. So today the Congress leadership said there will be a collective decision with Sharad Pawar's party tomorrow. If we can recall, when Sonia Gandhi and Sharad Pawar met last week in Delhi, that time also at a press conference, Sharad Pawar said there will be one more meeting before we take a final decision. So tomorrow, if the NCP says that they are staking claim, or rather they would extend support to the pending claim by the Shiva Sena, then we'll have to see what the Congress will do. I think it's too early for any of us to close the options. There are many precedents. It has happened in the past at the center and in many state capital. I think governor is absolutely right to explore all possibility and to give everybody a fair chance.
Okay, the question is, will a Congress NCP Shiv Sena government come together? Is it a question of when rather than if? And all of this, delay in faxing over the letters, etc., is just the time that it took. Rohit Chandavarkar, we've been speaking several times on the permutations and combinations, and frankly, this is a situation which no one really saw coming. But what do you reckon now? Is there a decision on all sides that they want to come together? They're just working out the practicalities?
Tamanna, if there is one thing that I have learned out of last 2 or 3 days, whatever we are watching in Maharashtra politics and also unfolding in Delhi, the one thing that we have learned is not to make predictions. Because just from the morning today till night, I saw about 150 predictions being made by political pundits from morning to night today, and every 15 minutes the situation was changing, and things were just going haywire. So I think with so much undecided and so much out of control, so to speak, I don't think there's any point in talking about what these political faces, these leaders will do tomorrow. They can do anything. But the key question right now is, I think, whether Congress, group of congressmen, MLAs who have got themselves elected in Maharashtra last election, recent election, will split away from the Congress and join Sharad Pawar. That is the key question, and I think that is what Sharad Pawar would be aiming at, apart from taking Sena along, which is the easier part for him. The one big thing that we saw happening today during the day was that the MLAs who spoke with Sonia Gandhi expressed dissatisfaction over party high command's insistence that they should not take Shiv Sena, they should not give Shiv Sena outside support. Because you remember during the poll campaign, Sonia Gandhi herself did not visit Maharashtra. Most MLAs who were most candidates who were contesting Congress tickets complained that there were not enough resources. Rahul Gandhi looked disinterested, and despite all that, most of them, 44 of them, fought themselves and got themselves elected. Now they feel this is their chance to be close to power or be connected with the power to get the work done in their constituencies if they support a Sena, NCP, a kind of a coalition government from outside.
Right.
The High Command, of course, like we discussed in your previous shows, is insisting on the overall national picture and deciding not to go with them with this coalition possibility just because of principles and ethical issues. Now, will there be a rift between the MLAs and the High Command is the big question, A. B is the big thing that we have to watch is what Sharad Pawar does, because this man has fantastic abilities to turn anything around. Whether he is able to convince Uddhav Thackeray tomorrow within a day to give support, outside support, external support to a Congress NCP or NCP Congress kind of a setup.
Wow.
Because remember, Uddhav Thackeray has walked a lot now, talked a lot last few days, and he is kind of almost burnt his bridges with BJP. So for him now the option is to side with Sharad Pawar. So whether Sharad Pawar is able to convince him overnight today or tomorrow,
is that what you think he'll be
government
asking
from outside or participate
Rohit,
in
do you
that
think that's going to be the
at
ask?
the same time take some
Is that going to be the
and-
ask
and
that
take
Congress,
some of-
NCP government and Shiv Sena should support from
and
outside?
take some of the Congress MLAs along? Anything is possible. Looking at what has happened today,
Okay.
I think tomorrow anything is
I
possible.
must come to Hitesh
Sharad
Jain.
Pawar has fantastic maneuverability. So
Yeah, this would require hypnotic abilities as well, one assumes. Hitesh Jain, I've come to you last because the BJP all through the day has been sitting on the sidelines and enjoying the show. Are you enjoying the show? Are you wondering, yeah, we should have made this work? Was there an ego tussle at the end of the day? You could have had a chief minister for 2.5 years at least.
One person who will be upset today will be Balasaheb Thackeray in his grave. Balasaheb Thackeray was a powerhouse in the Maharashtra. I mean, Sanjay Raut made a movie, and in that movie he depicted how he started the slogan against the South Indians called Uthao Lungi Bajao Pungi. Balasaheb Thackeray claimed that Shiv Sainik demolished Babri Masjid. Now a person who was a powerhouse, person who said that I have the remote control of Maharashtra in my hand, will certainly be very upset that his party leaders are going with the begging bowls in Delhi. This is not Balasaheb envisioned the vision for Shiv Sena, and I am sure in his grave in Shivaji Park, he will be the most upset person.
Okay.
He is the one who claimed that Shiv Sainiks demolished Babri Masjid. Shiv Sainik started an anti-South
What
Indian
about the
campaign.
BJP,
Now
Hitesh?
a person of a powerhouse, look at the fact of his leaders.
No, I understand the sentiment.
Sanjay Raut
I understand the sentiment,
claimed
but what
that
about
he
the
had
BJP?
175. Well, let me come to the BJP.
Yes,
Let
please.
me come to BJP. We
Yeah.
contested the election in alliance. The citizens of Maharashtra gave a joint mandate to BJP Shiv Sena. Well, Shiv Sena did not come ahead to support us, so we rightfully said that we are
Did you
not in
take
a
them for
position to
granted?
form the government
Hitesh
because it was
Jain,
a
did the
joint
BJP
mandate.
take
So
the
we
Shiv
have
Sena
followed
for
the
granted?
mandate that was we have followed the it is not a question of mandate.
You
when
know,
you,
you assume-
when you
no, I'll
contest the
explain what I mean.
election,
Hitesh,
you
just one
go
second.
before the
I'll
people
explain what I
together.
mean.
We
Just
clearly
one.
said
Just
we
one second,
clearly
Hitesh.
said Devendra Fadnavis ji was our chief minister.
Yeah,
or
okay,
candidate.
Yashwant Deshmukh wants to come in.
Tamanna,
Yashwant,
but
maybe he
just one
listened to you,
second.
he's not listening to me.
We clearly
Yes.
told the people of Maharashtra.
1 minute. My question is, did the BJP in some point, and not just the BJP, everyone took the Shiv Sena for granted. They thought they were just, bargaining for more portfolios, but they've stuck it out. No matter what happens now, the fact is that they've stuck to their guns. Yashwant?
Well, absolutely, they took them for granted.
Well, we
and the
did not,
moment that Shiv Sena was in a
break the
position to
alliance.
do whatever
We-
maneuvering they can, they did. Because you see, Shiv Sena, the story that Shiv Sena was unhappy with the BJP was hardly a story.
Yeah. it's not
Because
news.
Shiv Sena in its own newspaper was writing in headlines that we are unhappy with you, we are unhappy with you, we are unhappy with you. So Shiv Sena's
Well,
unhappiness
Sanjay Raut
was
cannot
hardly
be a
an
Shiv Sena.
hidden thing.
Unfortunately, the
One
problem
sec,
of Shiv
Hitesh,
Sena
one
was
sec,
they allowed
Hitesh.
Sanjay Raut to hijack the party.
1 minute. Let Yashwant finish his point.
I can only say one thing, sir, that Sanjay Raut cannot write a single line without approval of Matoshri.
Yeah.
We all know that. The thing is that we understand We need to understand this, that Shiv Sena has been your oldest ally. If Shiv Sena was upset, if their egos were brushed in the wrong side, wrong way, then there was something which was maybe they might be unjustified. I'm not saying that they were justified. I'm simply trying to say an alliance which was stitched by the senior Thackeray-ji, Balasaheb, as you mentioned, alliance which was stitched by the seniors of your party, that alliance was in tatters. The alliance partner was unhappy, and you had almost 6 years to pacify them.
Yashwant, just want to reply to the point that you are making,
Yeah.
that we took Shiv Sena for... Yashwant, just to make the point, since you made the point that we took Shiv Sena for granted, on the result day, the first press conference was called by Shiv Sena.
मैं फिर बात करूं
NCP leader there exiting Raj Bhavan. I did not catch completely what he said, but we will get those details for you and put it on air. We will be able to see exactly how much time the governor has given the NCP now to form government. We'll try and get that bite and replay it for you. So, fast-paced developments today. From everyone really visiting the governor's house one by one and figuring out what happens next. I just want to come to a few permutations, combinations. Remember, the debate is open. If you want to come and indicate, and I will come to you. Mr. Manoj, CL Manoj, do you think the option of what Rohit was saying is a possibility? Because now, for all practical purposes, the ball is now in Sharad Pawar's court. The NCP has been invited right now to form the government or stake claim by the governor. So can they now turn around and say, Shiv Sena, you give us outside support?
Well, I know that we all know that Shiv Sena held on against BJP for more than 2 weeks, and there were discussions between Shiv Sena and Sharad Pawar, and informally Shiv Sena and Congress. So I'm sure that there was some understanding between the three parties. That's why the Shiv Sena, after all, is a big risk that they are walking out of an alliance. And today also, before the Shiv Sena went and staked claim, we all knew that Shiv Sena leader and Uddhav Thackeray and Sharad Pawar held a meeting in Bombay. There was a telephonic conversation between Uddhav Thackeray and Sonia Gandhi. So I think all these people knew what exactly they have in mind. They may not have let it out for the benefit of all of us. So that I think at the top leadership, they knew very well. I don't know whether Uddhav Thackeray is not so seasoned that he would have gone and state claim without knowing what the NCP would do in Raj Bhavan and possibly what the Congress will do in Raj Bhavan next time after their invite. So we'll have to go and wait. So it will be wrong for me to presume that Uddhav Thackeray held on without a reason and he went ahead and state claim after talking to Sonia Gandhi, after talking to meeting Sharad Pawar without a game plan. So we'll have to wait. That's the beauty of politics.
Meanwhile, while we wait, we can assume what the permutations and combinations will be, which is the most fun part really of political coverage, especially for Hitesh also now that there's no skin in the game. So Hitesh can enjoy doing a bit of political punditry with all of our analysts also on screen. Rohit Chandavarkar, let me come to you. So clearly there is some kind of a verbal agreement between the NCP, the Shiv Sena and the Congress. Do you think that the NCP and the Congress are likely now to overreach and try and be at the forefront of this government? They know that the mandate is not for them. There is absolutely no confusion about that. The mandate is not for them. The Shiv Sena has taken, this on as an ego battle. So, do you think it's just a matter of time that they get their act together, or will we eventually see the state going into president's role?
There is a large possibility that the governor might move towards recommending president's rule in Maharashtra. Tamanna. But before that, I think he wants to show the world that he's fair and he's just and he's trying out all the possibilities. Of course, we know that it's going to be very difficult for NCP to convince Congress to have Sena as part of the coalition, the possible coalition that they might be thinking of. There is a sizable group of independent MLAs and other MLAs who might also be reached out to. So there is all options are right now open, but like I said earlier, it's wise not to make any predictions, but the biggest probability right now in my view is that within the next few days the governor might be moving towards recommending President's rule in Maharashtra, but only if Sharad Pawar is not able to achieve the miracle of convincing Congress party that Shiv Sena should be on board in this government. And what we are hearing from sources is that off the record, Shiv Sena might be offered even to be part of the government, to be deputy chief minister or something like that. Now this all depends on how open the Congress party is, because as I said earlier, the MLAs are open, the leadership is not. The MLAs feel that this is their biggest chance, which is a rare chance to be close to power, be part of it.
Yeah.
They might put some pressure, or they might go away from the party, or whatever can happen. But it's to be frank, it's very difficult to predict.
No, but
what's going to happen tomorrow.
why would the
all
Congress?
options are open.
Let's talk for a bit on why the Congress would sit this out. Hitesh Jain, you want to come in? Will the Congress sit it out because they're afraid that the BJP will say, look, they're being political opportunists? But in their position, wouldn't you have jumped at the opportunity?
Well, Tamanna, I'm an outsider in the Congress NCP Shiv Sena, but one should also remember that the Shiv Sena clearly claimed one of the reason was that Uddhav Thackeray promised Balasaheb that the next chief minister will be Shiv Sena's chief minister.
Yeah.
Shiv Sena will give a chief minister to the state of Maharashtra, and therefore he was not ready to compromise. Now when people are suggesting that he is going to accept deputy chief minister or some bargain, I mean Shiv Sena is going to go down further and further. So Shiv Sena will also have to introspect as to whether after riding such a high horse that nothing less than a Shiv Sena, and then to bargain with the deputy chief minister, which they could have obviously, I mean like if you would have noticed in Haryana what had happened, I mean perhaps if they would have joined, I mean the mandate was there for the BJP Shiv Sena. So I don't think Shiv Sena is very clear that they have made a promise to Balasaheb Thackeray that they are going to have a chief minister.
I agree with
that
you.
is where I think the Shiv Sena has to do.
I know, I agree with you.
See as to how they will get the claim of chief
Rohit
minister.
just wants to come
that is
back
the
on
whole ego and bargain all about.
Yeah, no, Rohit, Hitesh has a point there. The Shiv
No,
Sena
no,
can't
no.
back off from
See,
CM.
see, the point is. The point is Uddhav Thackeray saying that he made a promise to Balasaheb Thackeray that Shiv Sena will have its chief minister, etc. was only a tactic. Can I speak?
Yes, Rohit, please go ahead.
Shiv Sena saying, Uddhav Thackeray saying that he had made a promise. Let me complete, please. Uddhav Thackeray saying that he had made a promise to Balasaheb Thackeray that a Shiv Sainik will be a CM, and for that reason walking out of the BJP was only a tactical thing that Uddhav Thackeray did. It was only a strategic thing, just to pretend some reason that he wanted to show the world in order to walk out of an alliance where he has been for 30 years. That was not a genuine reason given by him. It was not genuine. His grievances have been there for 5 years, and he
even
is
a
convinced that
kindergarten
the
child will not buy
BJP
such
is taking
arguments.
more and more of the turf of the Hindutva space in Maharashtra, and he feels that in any case, if BJP chief minister comes to power and he is part of that government, in any case in the next 5 years BJP is going to finish the Sena. That is his feeling. So he wanted to get away from the BJP in any case. This chief ministerial post, this issue that he has brought in, it was only a ploy. He was not genuine about it. Now that he is away from the BJP, being a smart politician, he would want to be back in power. So if he is offered deputy chief ministership, it might be wise from his point of view to accept it.
I'm going to go across to Sudhir Mungantiwar, who's speaking just now. Let's listen.
आपला निर्णय करण्याचा आजच्या या कोरटीमध्ये निश्चित केला आहे आणि या घडामोडीवर लक्ष ठेवून वेट अँड वॉच या भूमिकेमध्ये भारतीय जनता पार्टी आहे.
The former finance minister of the Maharashtra government saying we are currently in wait and watch mode. What are they waiting and what are they watching for? Yashwant, let me come to you. Is the preferable sequence of order that, okay, now the governor goes to the Congress, then it goes to President's rule, then the BJP has its own sweet time to cobble up the numbers. I mean, what happens next?
Wait and watch is simply about having the president's rule in there, and then wait and watch till the patience runs out and people from other parties start coming into them, because they know, what the proxy president rule means.
Yeah.
So all said and done, a lot of introspection. I appreciate the BJP spokesperson saying that, because the two parties which are the biggest losers in this entire exercise at this point of time are BJP and Shiv Sena. And losers must introspect. And why I am using this harsh word as a loser, I'm sorry to say that. But when was the last time then in a bipolar contest you are having a lead of 12% votes and still trying to figure out how to form the government? 12% lead and trying to figure out how to form the government, because both the parties ensured that a dozen or 2 dozen odd people from their candidates and a dozen 2 dozen from their side, they ensured that they get defeated just to have a one-upmanship. There are no less than 40 seats in Maharashtra. With those, these two partners know they lost just because of the rebels and the infighting that they engineered each other's defeat. What kind of alliance partnership is that? Is that the alliance partnership? Is that the partnership which Balasaheb Thackeray and the sets of Vajpayee and Advani they had designed? So I believe a lot of introspection has to be done for them, not just because how to form this government, but actually why they are in the situation right now that they are in.
Oh, okay, I agree. That's a broader point. That's a broader point that all parties need to do after every election. Unless they have a fantastic sweep. But I just want to understand what happens next. Just an update over
beyond
here.
elections now, Tamanna. I believe President rule is going to give them a lot of time.
Tamanna, at the hindsight, coming to power was not the agenda.
Yes.
The agenda was the ideology agenda. The agenda was the agenda of Hindutva.
No. You guys needed
Tamanna,
each other. This
between
was the
Balasaheb
most bitter
Thackeray and
alliance
Atal
ever.
Bihari Vajpayee
Hitesh,
was
1
not
minute.
purely
This was
to
the
come
most
together
bitter
for the
alliance
sake of
ever.
power.
Let's admit facts. This was the most bitter alliance ever. Now, my question is, so 8:30 p.m. is the deadline been given to the NCP as of now. That's the latest coming in. The NCP again has a 24-hour deadline till 8:30 tomorrow. They have to come with the numbers. Sorry, yes, Yashwant, you're quickly coming in. Yes.
I said the politics of the ideologies is the gone thing. Let's not even talk about it anymore. The day BJP and PDP formed the government, that was the day that the so-called pseudo-secular or secular politics of India died. The day Shiv Sena went ahead with the idea of forming a government with the Congress, and the Congress even thinking about an idea of supporting the Shiv Sena, they cremated that entire futile debate on the secularism and being communal and all those kind of things. Because the ideologies, what kind of ideologies
but tell
are we
me,
talking
Yashwant, if
about?
RJD and
Was there
JDU
any
can come
ideological
together,
difference?
if
Was
SP
there
and
any
BSP can
ideological
come
difference
together.
on the issue of temple between Congress
True, but
and
I
Shiv
mean,
Sena
one
anymore?
minute, hang on.
Congress and Shiv Sena right now have the same kind of positioning.
Okay, if RJD and JDU can come together, if SP and BSP can come together, parties whose entire existence means the other one, threatens it. So we know that anything can happen. Anything can happen. But Alok Prasanna Kumar, I just want to come to you on this in this new 8:30 p.m. deadline. Now, sorry, I know this might sound very basic and silly, but between now and 8:30 tomorrow, if the Shiv Sena has all the letters it needs for support, do they go with that to the governor? Or does the NCP go back and say, I'm supporting the Shiv Sena? How does this all work?
So the NCP has essentially been given the right of first refusal. So the governor will entertain them first. It's not as if the Shiv Sena can magically pull out the letters. Quite clearly, if the three of them intend to form a government of some sort, and if they arrive at some sort of agreement to form a government of some sort, realistically, all three will go together. It's not as if the Shiv Sena will go running to the Raj Bhavan waving around two letters. If they do come up together, I expect all three of them to go together. So in which case, it won't really matter too much who was necessarily called. But if the NCP indicates that we have arrived at an agreement where Shiv Sena is going to be the chief minister or whatever, then the governor will say, okay, sure, clearly, at least on the face of it, the numbers are there. Why don't you prove the majority on the floor of the house, and we'll see what to do next. So, I mean, let's not get too bogged down into the very basics of it. Fact of the matter is, another 24 hours has been given.
Yeah.
It's for the NCP to make clear its position. Does it want to form the government? Does it have the numbers to form a government of some sort? Or is it also like the BJP going to decline the offer?
No, but you know, what I'm taking away...
I think that's really what the question here is.
Yeah.
And
no, what a key thing
Sorry?
I'm taking away from what you said also among other things, Alok, is that if the three of them were clear they wanted to come together, and as it was mentioned in the show, it's not an idea that emerged just yesterday. It has been, in talks for a while, officially and non-officially. Why haven't they managed to then? Rohit, you want to come in on that question, and now that NCP technically has first right of refusal, are they going to get...
Yeah, very, very quickly.
Yeah, okay, Alok, you finish that, then I'll come to Rohit. Yes.
Yeah. No, so what I just sort of say is that it's not just a simple matter of saying that, yeah, we're all coming together, because again, everybody here has had, when I'm talking about here, I mean the three parties in question, they have seen the experiences in Karnataka, they have seen the experiences in other states. They know that it's not just a matter of coming together and separating. I think what the Congress has in mind is how it was wiped out in Karnataka in the Lok Sabha elections. Not only did the alliance with JDS not add any more seats to it, it even made the Congress lose the seats that it had. And I think that's a very clear and important takeaway that the Congress has in mind. They have not forgotten that. It's not, I mean, in politics, and I'm sure a lot of followers, close followers of politics will say, 1 + 1 can sometimes be -2, it can sometimes be 5. So it's not so much pure mathematics. And I think that the governor is very right in sort of waiting to see if some sort of stable government can happen. It can't just be an agreement on the fly. This is not a shotgun wedding. And I think that it should also not be such sort of quote unquote shotgun weddings should not be encouraged by any governors also. You are, after all, want somebody to be able to show that they can at least reasonably govern for a period of 5 years.
But is it a short? Okay, one second. I have to take a break. So let me get a quick word from Rohit before I wrap up. It's okay. Can you really call this a shotgun wedding, considering this was very much up in the air? It was very much up in the air. Maybe there was no long, engagement, but the possibility was always there.
I think the 17 days that were lost earlier, was a mistake to some extent. And I think, now that every party seems to be given just 24 hours to get all the signatures of the MLAs and all of that, I feel all this should have been done much earlier. The governor is, of course, showing the world that he is doing the right things, and he is calling all parties one by one, which is a fair thing to do. There is no problem with that. But I think, a little bit of more time should have been given to each one of them, to be fair to them, to have discussions with their possible allies and to give them a fair chance. I think, this frenzy that we see at the last minute, where, people are running around, media is confused, and there are all sorts of rumors flying in the air and all of that. This could have been avoided to a large extent if some of the 17 days that were lost till yesterday or day before yesterday had been utilized properly. That's my view.
All right, but there was no clarity then, and the fact is that there's no clarity now. One thing we are very clear about though, is what this next government, whoever may form it and whenever it comes, needs to actually do. So while we've had a great time with all of this political speculation and analysis, and I want to thank all of my panelists here, I'm going to take a very short break. When I come back, we're going to focus on the real issues that the state of Maharashtra faces that has not had a government even 17 days after an election. Whether it's farmer distress because of unseasonal rain, whether it's unemployment, an economy that is slowing down, poor infrastructure, potholes, pollution. Well, let's set the agenda for the next government whenever they make up their mind. I have a great panel coming up after the break to talk about that. We'll be right back. Don't go. While the excitement over the political musical chairs in Maharashtra continues, it's important to focus on the real issues that impact people every day. Whichever government comes to power, in whatever shape or form, it now has its task cut out for it. An overall economic slowdown has impacted Maharashtra as well. Joblessness is a key concern. Unseasonal rains have destroyed farmers' crops, pushing them into even greater distress. Infrastructure is crumbling in the state cities, and we're not just talking about Mumbai. Helping us set the agenda for the next government whenever it comes today are Sunil Alak, commentator and founder of SKA Advisors, Colonel Jaivir Singh, co-convener of Jai Kisan Andolan and Swaraj, and Shishir Joshi, journalist and founder of Project Mumbai. Welcome to all of you, and thank you for speaking with us. Shishir, let me begin by just getting your thoughts on the basic point, because we just thought it's important to focus what really matters to people, and especially for the city of Mumbai. The kind of pollution we're seeing, the kind of poor infrastructure we're seeing, what would be the agenda you would set?
I heard you over the show before the break that you said which government comes to power. Now, first we need to understand whether there's a government that's going to come to power. I'm sure Sunil would remember there was a serial called Hum Log, which Ashok Kumar used to anchor, and this is one of those kind of hum logs that's going on right now. Every hour there's a new drama that's unfolding. About 1 hour back we were thinking that yes, there's actually a government coming into power, and now we see a completely different constitutional crisis that seems to be emerging, because every political party has been called, given 24 hours, so we don't really know. So yes, there are challenges that Mumbai faces, Maharashtra faces, and that those need to be resolved. Those don't change, but what's most important is that yes, we need a government in power, because there is a huge amount of investment that's happened in infrastructure and so many other projects. There is a crisis. Yes, there are issues of employment. There is a huge crisis that farmers are facing across Maharashtra. Rainfall has caused havoc across the state. They need money for survival at this point. Mumbai needs continuity in different forms, and if there is no continuity in the government, there's going to be a huge challenge. We've been the third most urban state in the country. Maharashtra has been. Mumbai is still the financial capital, as they say.
No, but Shishir, if we can focus on what the priorities need to be.
What we see as the circus of the absurd.
Yeah, no, the circus of the absurd, definitely. And
well, the priorities are infrastructure growth, yes.
Yeah, we need to just focus on what the priorities need to be.
Infrastructure growth is a big priority right now. We need yes, the priority is infrastructure, continuity of the infrastructure projects. Most of these projects have started off, they need to continue. As far as Mumbai is concerned, and outside of Mumbai, yes, you have the agrarian crisis that's going on. Farmers need to be attended to at this point right now. Third, we are going through a huge debt that needs to be reduced. So we need to cut down on the large number of freebies that have been announced by the various political parties through these electricity waiver, or you've seen these food freebies that have been announced, or these loan waivers of different forms which have been announced to different sectors, not the farmers. So these need to be cut down, because we are going through a huge financial crisis also in Maharashtra. So yes, infrastructure as far as urban pockets are concerned, they need to continue, and attending to the entire farmer crisis in rest of Maharashtra.
Okay, let's also understand that if there is a grouping of the Shiv Sena, Congress and NCP, they will have a common minimum program, which is why a little crucial to see what exactly they've promised in their manifestos. And one of the things that the Congress NCP have promised is a blanket farm loan waiver as well. Let me come to you, Sunil Alag, on what you would like to see from the next government, whoever forms it, whenever it actually comes to power.
What is really worrying is that somebody like your previous speaker mentioned Hum Log, after that came Bunyad, and there is no foundation without a proper and stable government, and that is what is going to worry, because unless we are guaranteed a stable government, almost all the common minimum program means you get to the bottom of the entire thing. Supposing the priorities are right on top, your common minimum program will always work to the bottom base. And that will never help either Maharashtra or Mumbai, because if you got a water crisis, NCP has come in power from the sugar lobby. Sugar consumes the maximum amount of water when it is grown. So it's a question of, you will have, I think now the way it's going, there's going to be president's rule for 6 months. So then there'll be nothing happening. Then by the time a government comes in, we'll have lost a year, and that is going to be most unfortunate, because you need in Mumbai, you need the urban lot who want better infrastructure. The rest of the state, which is farmers and everybody else, they want their distress to be handled properly. Look, as far as unseasonal rains are concerned, look, the next 6 months is going to be very, very difficult, because the crop for Rabi is also got delayed, and it was supposed to have started 1 month ago. The heavy rains have come in, and let's assume that it takes another 1 more month. So 6 months will go by, and look, you need to worry about farmers, you need to worry about infrastructure, and you wanted a strong, stable government in power for the next 5 years at least, for them to take whatever they had to do. But this is going to be very piecemeal right now. I mean, that is the most dangerous part.
No, but
no matter how much we wish,
here we are
this is going
assuming,
to be a very piecemeal government,
that a coalition government will not perform. No, 1 minute. Here you're basing your assumption that a coalition government will not perform at all, and a strong, stable government, which the state has had for the last 5 years, will perform superlatively.
No, I am not saying.
That need not be the case.
No.
Tamanna, I'd like to add here.
I'm saying that need not be the case.
Coalition governments can perform if you have the same look. Even in J&K, the coalition government didn't perform because the ideologies are different.
Okay. When
Shiv Sena and BJP were together, the coalition government would have performed. But when you have 3 parties with 3 different ideologies, see what happened in Karnataka.
No, but I'm sorry to say, the Shiv Sena and the BJP were in government from 14 to 19, and clearly, there have been lacuna. They came back to power, but they have been okay, let me come to Colonel Jaivir Singh, co-convener of the Jai Kisan Andolan, because we really need to hear about, rural distress and what's happening there. Just important to note, even in the middle of all of these speeches, some netas, one of them Aditya Thackeray, did come out and say that we need to think about the farmers. They've spent some of the last 15 days going out and meeting farmer groups, because obviously they want to stay out on top of the political message as well. But is the outcome of this, government formation mess very crucial for the farming community right now, Colonel Singh, considering that they are in pain?
You see, the farmers, a lot of shows are there on farmers, even governments are talking about farmers. But in reality, whether it is excessive rains or drought is there, farmers are left to fend for themselves. There is no ground support. If you see the NCRB data which has been released recently, it has been released after a gap of this 2016 data has been released after a gap of 3 years. And what about 2017 and 2018 data? And in a major break, the NCRB tradition, no mention of the suicide causes has been given by the NCRB in 2016 data.
Right.
A farmer, basically, he is debt-ridden. The MSP, it is declared, to sustain these climatic changes, farmer cannot stand on its own. The he expects the government to
No, absolutely. That's
come to his
well known,
rescue.
Colonel Singh. But if we can come to the specific
that is
point,
where,
I urge you, if we can come to the specific point, there's a 10,000 crore rupee, support package which the outgoing Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis announced. Now it's in limbo. We don't know who is going to actually, disperse it. How is it going to reach the farmers, and how crucial is that at this time? Can farmers wait for another, week, fortnight, maybe 6 months for a government to come in place?
you see, this is what I am trying to say. Farmers are left to fend for themselves. So, if the government is not being formed here in Maharashtra, and they have to wait, and wait for 17 days are already over, and there is we cannot see that government will be formed if president rule is imposed. God knows when the new government is formed. So, the farmer cannot wait for whatever the
Tamanna, I have
chief
something
minister
to
has
add here.
announced.
Yeah.
The aid has to reach the farmer.
Yeah. So, exactly. You need a government in place
Yeah.
to do that. Yes, Shishir.
Samana, for a moment, let's assume that the government does come into power, and which is the new revised coalition of NCP, Congress,
Yeah.
and the Shiv Sena does come into power. For a moment, let's assume. What happens is that, very realistic speaking, there is a good news and a bad news out here. What happens is, while Shiv Sena, BJP were together, but we all know that it was a terrible marriage that was in existence. What will happen now is that the moment they come in, they're coming together not because they love each other, they're coming together because they all hate the BJP. So, what's going to happen? The first thing that happens when a rival party comes into power is the existing bureaucracy gets moved out. So, there will be a complete change in stance. All these senior bureaucrats who are running key projects in Mumbai and Maharashtra will be shunted out. That slows down one set of the process. Second, we're talking about Mumbai, what key projects that have been running around. Largely, it's the metro link projects which were going on, and the big dispute that was happening between the Shiv Sena and the BJP was linked to RA. While RA is one part of a larger environmental concern, if you remember that Aditya Thackeray was batting on one side while the Devendra Fadnavis government was on a completely different side. And now, with assuming that the Shiv Sena does come into power,
Yes.
the metro using the RA as one of these elements might get completely stalled. While money wise, infrastructure cost wise, things may not change as much because these loans are largely ring fenced, because these are international loans.
Right.
Larger structure doesn't change, but one such delay might delay that entire metro project, which is disastrous for Mumbai at this point.
No, that's a very important point. Now, if
Tamanna.
there is a Shiv Sena led government in Mumbai and Maharashtra, what do they do about RA? Because Shiv Sena had a very stringent position on RA, which was completely divorced from what the BJP was saying. Sunil, in that sense, is there a fear that we will be going 4 steps back instead of 2 steps forward?
Actually, that's what I meant by the common minimum program is
Yeah.
that Shiv Sena will say, all right, I don't want the metro. NCP will say, I want the sugar farmers to be paid first. Congress would say something else. The common minimum program basically stalls things. And that's what's going to be very, very difficult for Maharashtra, at least for the next 1 year. Till the next monsoons come in, the farmers will be waiting. The Rabi crop is delayed. And look, even if there's president's rule for 6 months, he's not going to do much. So ultimately, at the end of the day, when 3 parties with different ideologies will come together, there is going to be a stalling of good projects rather than they say, let's wait. Because everybody will be interested in saying, I promised this, I promised this. They'll all want to achieve individually what they've promised. And that's when the common minimum program has very rarely worked. I'm not saying it won't work, but it's very rarely worked. And if, as you said earlier, if Shiv Sena and BJP were in power and they didn't do anything earlier, and if they continue not to do anything now, they're going to get voted out in the next elections. But right now, everybody will say, look, I never had the opportunity, so re-elect me. And that's what I feel is going to be very dangerous for Maharashtra.
Okay, we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see, because remember, in Bihar, a combination which did not get the mandate is ruling. They are ruling right now. The voters of Bihar did not vote for the BJP-JDU combination, but you know, they are in power, so far pretty stable. So let's wait and see how this all pans out. At the end of the day, all
even in the Lok Sabha they went together. No.
No, I'm talking
they
in the
voted
assembly.
them together.
In the assembly. But this is, we're
In
talking about
Bihar,
an
don't
assembly.
say they were voted out separately.
No, I'm talking about in the assembly, Sunil. We're talking about an assembly election. We'll have to compare with the other assembly elections. So
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
but
no,
the
so my point being,
post the assembly came Lok Sabha, no? And now they are together again.
Yeah, my point being, it's a different election. My point being that will politicians of all hue and color at the end of the day get down to the business of governing? Between all the MLAs that have chosen, will they look out for their constituencies instead of all the additions and subtractions and arithmetic going on now to form the next government? That's the only hope we can have as we look forward to the next 24 hours and see if there is an end in sight to this political tussle. I'll have to end it there, but thank you so much to all of you for joining us on the show this evening.